Hey, and welcome back to the Talks with Bri Podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Simmons. Welcome to those of you who are joining in on the podcast for the first time. It is good to have you guys here. Guys, I have missed you so much. It's been a long 3 weeks, but I am glad to be back recording. I have so much to talk to you guys about. I have so much to say this season. I'm not sure if I mentioned it last season, but I did celebrate my birthday this month, November 4th. Yup. Hashtag Scorpio energy. Hashtag Scorpio season. Hashtag November baby. Hashtag 80s baby. And my favorite, hashtag Jamaicans do it better. But yeah, I celebrate my birthday. I am blessed once again just to see another year. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. Most of all, this birthday it was one for the books, y'all. I'll share more in my upcoming episodes, but this year I did get the opportunity to be blessed with a trip with my family. We went back home to Jamaica. It was, y'all. Whew, it was wonderful. My heart was overwhelmed with gratitude, happiness. I saw family that I haven't seen in years. I had our wonderful, famous KFC chicken. If you know, you know. Okay. If you know, you know. But it was just great just to be back home. It was one of the first time in a long time that my siblings and we got the opportunity, my family and I, most of my family at least, we got the opportunity to travel together. Usually we're all over the place, but just being able to come together, it was truly special. And then to put the icing on the cake, right? Because you thought the trip to Jamaica was everything. I also got the chance to go to St. Lucia. Just call me a travel girl. No, it was honestly just a wonderful, wonderful trip. This birthday season was probably one of the best birthdays that I've had in a long time. And I just felt truly grateful and thankful, one for my family, but just to be able to see different things, right? I always feel like in different stages in your life, you see things through different lenses. So being able to go back home with my younger siblings and just to show them just how amazing Jamaica is through my eyes. And then just to be able to go and experience St. Lucia, right? I've never been. And it was absolutely beautiful. If you get the chance, you should definitely visit Jamaica, obviously. But you should also visit St. Lucia. It was thoroughly the most amazing trip. I'll be doing a recap of my trip in the upcoming weeks, so stay tuned for that. But what's going on in your world, y'all? Tell me what's been happening. I have missed you guys. We have not gotten the chance to talk these past 3 weeks. And, I'm like, what's going on with my people? Tell me what's happening. For most of us, we just celebrated Thanksgiving, right? And it was just, for us at least, our Thanksgiving was pretty low key. But what about you guys? Tell me what's been going on with your Thanksgiving. Did anybody try new recipes? That was just like the theme of this year's social media situation, right? People were like, don't try new recipes. This is not the season. For me, the spirit of thankfulness, it's just not only reserved for Thanksgiving Day, because we give thanks 365, right? 24/7. It's a daily thing, right? It's a lifestyle. Thankfulness is a lifestyle. But I think there's something a little extra special about Thanksgiving because, it's just a time, just the holidays in general. Like we come together, especially on Thanksgiving, right? The season of thanks. We come together and, families come together and we all, we just take the time to laugh, reminisce, fellowship, all the little things, right? I find that those moments are what gives me like that warm, fuzzy feeling inside. But this season I found myself to be more aware, right? I wouldn't say more aware, right? I think I was a little bit more sensitive to just a lot of people who were dealing with loss, right? It was either like people that I know virtually or people that I know personally. You empathize, right? But you think to yourself, once again, right? You're grateful, you're thankful for the family and the folks that you have in your life. But you also realize that there are those who are not only mourning, right? Loss, right? Because it's something that they'll never have anymore, but there are people who never had, right? So for that in itself, you try to be conscious of that, and you try to do the best that you can with being sensitive to that and to empathize with those, right? So unfortunately, this is the reality that we live in, right? It's just one of those things that happens, and all we can do is just pray and hope that we can do our part, right? So we're here. We had Thanksgiving, and there's some folks that I know are just like, okay, Thanksgiving out of the way, make way, make way. Because the folks who are like, listen, the Christmas, this is like I'm horrible with sports analogies, but see with me here, right? This is like the Super Bowl of holidays, right? So in the fall, we have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas. Well, sorry, we have Halloween, we have Thanksgiving, and then we have Christmas. Halloween came, they were like, yep, we did our thing. Like, yeah, okay, bye. Thanksgiving is like, hello, we're here, we've arrived. Boom, we did our thing. And then Christmas is like, get out the way. So listen, the folks who are the Christmas folks, y'all, listen, you guys are truly unmatched. I saw decorations being put up as early as October. Yes, I did see people with decorations for October. For those who waited until November 1st, good for you. And then for those of you who waited until after Thanksgiving, because you're like, we'll just wait for the other people to just get out the way with their holiday. Even more better for you. But you know what? If Christmas is your thing, do you, boo. And if it's not, do you too. Guess what? There's space for all of us to thrive and to be. But, let's see what the holiday brings around. Guys, I'm not sure. I didn't mention this because it was something I was playing around with in my head. But I'm doing something a little different this season. I'm trying it out. So I'm trying it out. So bear with me. But guess what? Okay, I know I always say guess and then you can't really respond because you guys are listening. But I decided to kind of dip my toe into video podcasting. So as we're doing this, as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm actually recording a video, right? Because I'm going to put it up on the YouTube channel, the Talks with Bri YouTube channel. So let's see what happens. I'm saying this to you, and if you go to YouTube and you don't see it, that means the video was just horrible, and I decided not to put it up. But I am here. I'm trying something different. I am nervous. I am excited, but guess what? I am all in, and let's see what happens. I think this whole podcasting journey has been one where I have, I've just been open. So here I am. I'm doing YouTube podcasting as well. And I'm going to, I love being behind the mic. It's great, but let's see what happens. So you can find this episode on YouTube as well, but you can also find all the previous episodes on anywhere that you listen to your podcast, right? But if you want to see what I look like and see my crazy facial expressions, feel free to jump on in on YouTube and check me out. I'll be sharing, So update. The Mix and Mingle event was great. It went well. I spoke to Carrie. She said it was really good. She's going to share some pictures with me and I'll pop them up on the socials so that you guys will get the opportunity to see. And when she announces the next event, you should definitely keep an ear out because I will be posting that as well. And I'll be talking about it. You can, check it out and let me know what you think. When I post it, I'll definitely let you guys know. But what do you guys have planned for the holidays? Drop me a line at talkswithbripod@gmail.com. If you're feeling social, feel free. You can check me out at Talks with Bri Pod, at Talks with Bri Pod on Instagram. And if you want, you can comment on this YouTube video and let me know what you guys think. You can even subscribe, y'all. Subscribe to the channel because it really is just going to be for the podcast. I have, I know never say never, but my goal is not to necessarily become like a YouTuber. I just wanted to expand the audience for the podcast. So I said, why not? Right. So here we are. So leave a comment, subscribe, talk to your girl. You have 3 ways to chat with me. talkswithbripod@gmail.com. You can say hello on Instagram at talkswithbripod, or you can just check me out on YouTube at Talks with Bri. And most importantly, you can find me every platform that has a podcasting area. Talks with Bri, that's me. So guys, let's get right into the episode. Folks, this week's episode is titled A Life Well Lived. It's in dedication of someone who left us honestly too soon, too soon. I don't know how to, let me just start off this way, right? While I was on vacation, I checked my social media and I saw the announcement that Roslyn, better known as Roz, but Roslyn Singleton, she passed away on November 15th of this year. Honestly, I felt like I was sucker punched. You know, when you read something and you read or you hear something and your mind understands it, right? But for some reason, you're still not able to comprehend. And for the folks that are watching me on YouTube, you see me looking off the screen. That's because I'm checking my notes as I'm going along, because I really want to give a just due. Like, I think it's only right that this podcast that I'm dedicating to Roz, it just be done in a way that's like, you know, just it needs to be. But that was me, right? I read the announcement and it felt unreal. It felt unfair. I sat there for a moment feeling shell-shocked, and immediately I started saying a prayer for her husband, because if it hit me like this, right, I can't begin to imagine the folks that were closest to her. Guys, she fought so hard, but in the end, it just was too much. As I mentioned last season, Roz conquered brain cancer 4 times. Saying it out loud, it makes me, it's just another reminder of just how strong this woman was. It was no easy feat. Brain cancer? I mean, really? Brain cancer 4 times. There's no way, right? I sat down and I cried. I mean, I just bawled, because I don't know. I don't know how to explain how much I really just like jived with her and Ray, and it really felt unfair, right? Next January 16th would have been her 40th birthday. And both her and her husband, they celebrated their fourth wedding anniversary on November 4th. And I remember seeing their anniversary thing and I was like, oh my God, they have their anniversary on my birthday. But it felt unfair, right? They were married for just 4 years. I remember the first time I saw them on the Black Love docuseries, I immediately became a fan. And in that time, I was blessed to be a part of the many people who were inspired by both Roz and Ray. Roz has always maintained that it doesn't matter what you're going through, you can make it through by God's grace. She's always telling us to keep on fighting, keep on moving, you can overcome it. Guys, she lived and loved unapologetically. I know I'm not the only one that feels the loss, because I have seen the outpouring of prayers. I've seen the outpouring of testimonies and well wishes. You know, Ray has been using the hashtag "She Shook Up the World" in remembrance. And it's honestly been the most beautiful thing, because the videos that have been shared of her, like just the people that have been saying the most wonderful things, like, I mean, celebrities, yes, but it's the everyday people that it just makes it a little extra special, right? But I remember watching them in an interview, and she spoke about her hopes for the future. And one of them was, one of the hopes was starting a family. And man, I broke down again. I've been crying on and off for the past few weeks, right? But it brought another wave of sadness, right? It brought another wave of tears, because, and I think I remember mentioning this in season 1 when I talked about Chadwick Boseman when he passed away. When someone passed away, right? When someone passes away, you mourn the person and the loss of life. But I and I can only speak for myself, I also mourn the time that will never come for them, right? It just feels so unfair, especially when you know that they would do so much more. It just feels, it makes you wonder to yourself, like, why, right? But then I think about it, right? And I titled this episode A Life Well Lived, because even though her life ended at 39, and even though there was so much more that Roz would have been able to accomplish had she lived to see, I don't know, maybe 90, right? But the one thing I'm learning is that she lived her life. When I tell you she lived her life, yes, she had cancer, but she didn't let that be like a stopping for her. When the pain got too much, she took a break, but her life was lived. Like, she lived her life, right? And that's what I'm realizing more than ever, is the importance of living your life, right? As someone who has only experienced the Singletons virtually, and from what I've seen and read, Roz really lived. On her Instagram page, like on her tagline for the bio, there's a Maya Angelou quote. And in it, it reads, "If you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be." Guys, I was inspired before Roz passed away. Like, I was inspired by her story. I was inspired when they came on and did their lives. I was inspired the first time I saw them on the Black Love docuseries. But Roz's passing inspired me on a greater level. Guys, not to sound like a broken record, but life in itself is a gift. While I was in Jamaica, I remember speaking with one of my dad's old army buddies. Shout out to Mr. G Brown if you're listening to this. But he said something. He said, death will come. It's not an if, it's when. And as simple as it was said, it struck me, right? I thought to myself, Sabrina, you have been blessed beyond measure, right? How can you do your part? What can I do to be a blessing to someone else? But now more than ever, I want to continue to live my life in a way that removes the chains of people's opinion, people's hearsay, and all the other pettiness that comes from being distracted with the nuances of our day to day, because that's all that they are. It's a distraction, right? For me, a life well lived is loving and loving. A life well lived is loving the ones that you've been blessed with, right? A life well lived is taking it one day at a time. You can have plans for the future. That's completely fine. But never get so caught up in planning that you fail to be present in the here and now. A life well lived is having all your basic needs met because everything else is overflow. A life well lived is serving in any way you can. All you have to do is answer the call. A life well lived is being able to forgive. Man, listen, it ain't worth it, y'all. Forgive, forget. It really isn't. A life well lived is finding something simple to be grateful for. A life well lived is recognizing and respecting the unpredictability of life. I'm dedicating this episode in loving memory of the force that was Roslyn Singleton. She lived, and I mean lived with capital letters, the life and the time that was given to her. And even when the pain was too much, she acknowledged the pain, but she still said it will get better. Roz, you're no longer in pain. Girl, I know you did your best to hold on for Ray, but don't worry. We have him covered in prayer and well wishes. Rest easy, my friend. I and many others will do what we can with what you have poured into us in the time that we have known you. Guys, love the ones that you have. Forgive the folks who hurt you, and do your best to just live your life, right? It's easy to want to follow the crowd, but Roz posted one time. It was so funny. And I'll see if I could find the post and maybe put it in a story. But she posted one time, right? She had this funny picture for the post where she was kind of looking up at you like, "What you doing, Willis?" But she posted, and the post read, "What are you complaining about today? You're still here. You got another chance, another opportunity. You're healthy, you're loved, you're cared for. Go do something incredible." Guys, it all comes down to perspective. Sleep well, Roz. We'll take it from here. We will take it from here. Guys, I don't know how to explain to you how much her passing affected me. I've always been on the path to being very present in every situation. But let me tell you, I am encouraged to work even harder at enjoying the moments that I get to experience. And it's so weird. Maybe that's why the trip back home felt so special, right? Because I was so present in that moment, recognizing and just being with my parents, my siblings. And even though my brother and my sister-in-law weren't able to come, like it was still being present, right? They were working still. And life is short, y'all. Life is short, and all we can do is just try our best to live. You know, it's not something that's easy, and like I talked about, there's the nuances, right? Like the things that we get caught up on, y'all. Really? Like I'm always like, it really doesn't. That's the least, right? And as long as your basic needs are covered, everything else is overflow, right? I remember watching a YouTube video a few weeks ago, and this girl talked about just wanting to live a more minimal like life. She was just like talking about the fact that like she has so much, right? So how can she not necessarily throw away everything, right? It's not like extreme minimalism, but just recognizing that really and truly, like some of the things that we complain about, like she was just like, man, this isn't that serious. So she wanted to find a way to kind of pare down like all the excess, right? Because it's a lot of excess. So that's what I say the nuances is that we're going through day to day and things happen, and then you have excess, right? The excess is something what we get caught up in. Don't get caught up in the excess. I'm encouraged to work even harder at enjoying the moments that I get to experience. I'm encouraged to, as I go through this journey called life, and I hope you're encouraged too. Guys, as we all go through this journey, one thing I will say as we go through life, be present. Just do our best to be present, forgive, and always remember how far you've come. If you want to say hi, you can. Just open up your email, send a note at talkswithbripod@gmail.com. You should definitely just, you can always pop in and send me a message on Instagram, Talks with Bri Pod. And if you want, you can comment on this video at Talks with Your Pod and YouTube. And you can find this podcast anywhere you stream your podcast. Feel free to rate me, say hi, and subscribe. So guys, if you want to find Roz's husband, his Instagram handle is WillyCool, and I'll put this in the show notes. Willy_cool, cool with a Q, at Instagram. Stop by, send him some prayers, send him some well wishes. I can't imagine what he's going through. Today is the funeral. Yesterday was the viewing, and today is the funeral. So she would have been buried already. So it's just been a lot. Love the ones that you're with, guys. I'm glad to be back. Season 2, looking at you. Till next time, walk good, be good. Bye, guys.